Hello and welcome to an Everquest guide for a level 105 Cleric. And this is how I play a Cleric. So like, if you're playing a main Cleric, you might find some stuff useful, you might not. But I play it as a boxed Cleric. And I group with my 6 characters pretty much all the time when I play this character. So let's just set that out there first and kind of talk about this. So obviously it's a multi-bind based Cleric where all I have to do is hit one button and over and over, and she will cast all her spells. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into spells, we're going to get into hotbars, we're going to get into extended target, we're going to get into buffs. We're going to talk about gear, but gear really doesn't matter at this point too much. I started this character as a heroic 100, so your mileage may vary. So let's go ahead and get into spells. So my spell set is Spiritual Remedy, Graceful Remedy, Earnest Remedy, Mystical Intervention, Virtuous Intervention, Symbol of Convalescence, Retort, Word of Greater Reformation, Shining Bulwark, Hand of Graceful Infusion, Rallied Greater Ward of Eye, and Unified Hand of Surety. Now, I keep some of these spells memmed at all times just because it's a box. And as a box, I don't really want to come over here and like change spells very often. So my spell set is kind of based on that. Definitely some of these, like these last 4, probably could be swapped out as needed. But I cast them a lot, so I don't really want to go switching them around. We also run 2 auras. It wasn't until I made this character I realized the clerics could get 2 auras, so that's something nice. So the Spiritual Remedy line here, the Remedy, this is a fast heal. This is what is this, a 0.5 second cast time? Well, this one's slower because it's a lower level, but this one doesn't get cast as much, so it's kind of like, oh, something's happened, we can't get the other ones working. But this heals for 8,800 to 11,000, depending on how low the target is, right? And this one's 7,600 to 9,500. You'll notice that I'm using the first version of it, and I go all the way back to level 86. So this is just so that I have fast heals that are hitting. In the current content of Everquest at 105, mobs are hitting so hard on my tank that he needs heals fast, and this works. So I have those 3 fast heals, and then I have Mystical Intervention and Virtuous Intervention here. So this is 103 and 98. So this is a heal that heals the target and then does damage to the other target's target. So whatever he's tanking, it does damage to. I don't know how much this heals for. It's probably not a whole lot. It's mostly to get some DPS out of this Cleric. So I have those 2 spells in. Next, then I have Syllable right here. It heals everybody in the group for 10,000. Now, why would I cast this? Well, one, it's the focus spell. So every time we cast this, we have a 100% chance to trigger Templar's Synergy. All group members within 100 feet. Increases the healing provided for the next 3 level 90 and higher instant duration healing spells. What? So when I cast Syllable here, all of these, so these first 3, maybe depending on how I have this set up right here, they're going to get a bonus of 5,400 hit points on them. So instead of healing for 88, it's going to heal for almost 15,000. So it's really important to put these synergies in. Like if you watch the Shaman video and the Druid video for 105 and plus, right, that I talk about the synergy and I cast it. Like I'm doing damage with my Druid, but I'm still casting the group heal synergy on my Druid because it helps that much. So for the Cleric here, we want to hit that spell on cooldown, and as you can see here, it is the first spell in my multi-bind that I make sure I hit it on cooldown. And then we have Osliff's Retort here, which is as a chance for your target to heal himself when striking enemies. So this is more or less a little buff I can put on my tank here, like so, that will give him a chance to proc a heal. Now, I believe it stacks with all his stuff. I haven't really paid much attention to it. Right there, retort 2 minutes. I don't even know. Does it stack? It does. It stacks with the paladin version of it. So it's a very good spell to have and put it up. I have it in my rotation here, and it's got a long recast time, so it's not going to be spammed. So it's pretty nice. Then I have Word of Greater Reformation, which is a group heal again, but this one cures and gets rid of all the curses and poisons, right? So this is a fantastic spell to use, right? You just hit it. It's a little bit moderate of a cast time, right? But heals everybody. And it has no recast time. So you can, if you use it right, I think I have it right here, right? I have it in a non-multibind spot. I believe I have it right here in the last spot, just in case, you know, something gets to it. But for the most part, I want to be able to cure everybody in the group when I need to cure them. I don't care how much mana it costs. I don't care about any of that, because I can chain heal with this cleric, and I usually don't run out of mana. I have a bard, I have a mount. She's good to go. Then we have Shining Bulwark, which is another kind of defensive spell to put on the tank. Just absorbs 10% of the melee damage for up to 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and which does a little bit of what's that? Stuns the target and heals them. So it's another, you know, bonus thing that you can put on your tank. Hand of Graceful Infusion, another healing proc to put on your weapons. Another spell, and I have a whole macro will show that I just go through and cast all of them in a single thing. And then we have Rally, the Greater Ward of Vi, which is a group protection buff. This is the melee guard line of spells, but it will absorb 45,000 damage before it dissipates. So it's another just good buff to put on your tank. This case, I use the group version of it, so it does everything. And then right here, I just have Agialism, which is the buff of choice for the cleric. Cleric's not going to want skin because it does not stack with our self buff. Now, that is all the spells. There's a lot of things. It's mostly healing. It's heals that do damage to the target's target, right? If there was more spells that did that kind of thing, I would be using those also. The goal is for this cleric, for me and my group, is I want this cleric to be able to heal 100%. And so far in my testing, from level 100 to 105, I can two-hand with my tank, my paladin, and I can tank up to 4 mobs with just the cleric healing. And I have not been able to do that with any of my characters as of yet, until I added the cleric. So that is how much healing power this adds to my group. I do have a shaman, and I use the shaman for slows and DPS, and I use the shaman for healing. The shaman does when I do the same multi-bind as I think I have 4 for the cleric, and if I do 5, the shaman will heal, and the shaman will do all the shaman healing. So you can imagine the amount of healing power that is being focused on one character, and it is almost impossible for him to die in most cases. Now, he will die if he gets hit too hard, but the amount of it is insane how much I'm able to do with this character. So, and it's all based on this cleric being able to do all this. So let's get into my hotbars here. I have a hide corpse hotbar, just gets rid of corpses, and also auto inventory. I do run a mage, so the mage is also throwing mod rods out in her buttons. So when she does that, I need to auto inventory, and I don't want to go to every single character and click that. We have heal X target 20. So I have an X target set up here, which is extended target, right? I have my whole group. So I have my my tank, my bard, my cleric, my necromancer, my shaman, and my mage. They're all here on the extended target, and then everything from below the mage, which is X target 7, all the way to X target 18 are, extended targets that we have aggroed. And then X target 19 is the target that my tank is currently targeting. So my tank is usually my assist, my polar. I do everything with him. I play everything from the tank. So his target goes there, and then whatever the tank is. So if it's not, say I'm grouping with somebody and they're the tank and it's not me, they would go here. I will set them as the tank, and all of my heals will be focused on the tank, and anything that requires me to assist and get a target will target X target 19. So just putting that out there. I do that in all the videos just to make sure everybody understands how I do this and what these X target numbers actually mean. So I target my tank, right? That's all that does. This is the first button for the multi-bind. You'll see here in my multi-bind for, I think, hotbar 6, it's dual multi-bind. So if I hit 4, it's going to cast all this. If I hit 5, it's going to cast all this. Now I have 4 and 5 here, both have the same button. Just is more or less a reminder for me that that's what these are going to do, because I forget. And then after that, I have, we'll go into the multi-bind here in a second. I have Greater Reformation, which is that group heal. I have some burns. These are not set up yet. These are, they're just still based on my Paladin, whose UI I copied. We'll talk about those when we get into AAs and stuff, but for the most part, I don't have that set up yet. Sit is, I got a button so I can hit 0 and everybody in my group will sit. It's actually needed sometimes, like I can't mount. I try to keep them mounted at all times, but sometimes you can't. Then I have Divine Peace, which is the escape button for a cleric, right? This will cause everything to forget you, turn you invisible, and you can run away. So like if something goes wrong and let's say the tank dies and I'm not able to recover, say my pets are dead, since I do run a necro and a mage, typically I'm letting them, a taunt on their pets, because their pets do tank better sometimes. In certain cases against certain types of mobs, they do tank better. So I do let them taunt just to kind of take the pressure off the paladin, especially if there's like 3 or 4 mobs. If they're taking one of those mobs out, I don't have to worry about it, right? So this is, he dies, I escape, everybody goes out. Then I have a button to mount. So everybody, on all my characters, they all have the same kind of layout for everything, right? It's the multi-bind, Tide Corpse, multi-bind, some kind of group thing that everybody does. 3 buttons for all the burns, a sit, an escape, and a mount, right? That's my hotbar 1. Then on my second hotbar, which is controlled by the 12 buttons on my mouse, I have a kind of a DPS button. Now, this is an interesting button, right? Like you're like a DPS button for the cleric, right? So clerics get a hammer, AA, let me see if I can find it, that summons a little pet. You're like, a little pet, what is that thing gonna do? Well, that thing is gonna add to the mage, right? That is perfect, right? If I can actually find it here. Oh my god, what is it called? Oh, I'm in the wrong tab. All right, here we go. It's like Divine Hammer, isn't it? Yeah, Celestial Hammer, here we go. When activated, summons a level 105 hammer to attack the target for up to 60 seconds. And your hammer has a 50% chance to trigger Hand of the Gods, which does 2,600 damage. Now, that's actually pretty nice. Now, the way I have my multi-bind set up, this is a little bit more challenging for me to get on from the cleric, because she's always casting when I'm hitting 4 or 5. So I have to stop healing for her to cast this now. But when this gets on there, it adds to the mage's damage through the many line of spells, and it adds just passive damage to that mob. I don't believe this one will jump from creature to creature. But then I also have Turn Undead in here. Now, if you're asking why I have Turn Undead on here, you're you got to really think about some really deep synergy I got going on here. So I have a necromancer. He's not in the zone right. He's in a different guild. But I run a necromancer. He's my main character on this server. And he will do char. I think it's char undead. I think, what's it called here? Char bones. So he has char bones. And he will turn the mob undead every time he can. So he's taking a DPS loss because the mobs don't last long enough, right, for dots to even matter. So, you know, I needed something else to do. And so Char Undead turns the mob undead for, I think, 13, 14 seconds. Now you're like, that's not very long. It actually is. I can then turn undead on the mob, and that will do a massive amount of damage right here. Turn undead. So this will do critical 158,000 damage. Another, yeah, just damage. Just insane damage here. You know, 152,000 damage, 10% chance to critically do 158,000 damage, and then do 150,000 damage every 6 seconds for 24 seconds. If that lands on whatever I'm fighting, that mob is gonna have a bad day. Let's just say that. So I have it there. Whenever I notice that the mob is turned undead, I try to go out of my way to hit this button and get that on there as soon as possible, because it is a massive DPS increase, you know, from the Cleric, one, and you know, two, it just helps out the group. Then I have a buff group. So buff X target 20 here. So X target 20 is the tank. So I cast 11, 10, and 9. So 11, Rallied Greater Ward of Vi. 10, Hand of Graceful Infusion, and Shining Bulwark. So it's just, if I hit 6 on my mouse, she'll start casting here. And they all cast because they all have the same kind of setup on all of them. And she'll just buff him up. And I do this. These are short duration buffs, right? So if we go to the paladin here, Hand of the Graceful Infusion, it's only 2 minutes. And let's see here, where's the other one? Shining Bulwark is 9 minutes. So those are kind of, you know, you gotta recast them quite often, so I make sure, you know, every so often to do that. All right, and then I have my mass group and Tranquil Blessing. This is not for own Vi. Whenever I'm in the, you know, in guild lobby, I do cast group buffs with my characters to kind of help out. Obviously, I'm not 125, so they're not, you know, the best buffs. But you know, I get messages from people saying thank you for buffs, because people don't really do it as much. I do have a follow button, which is a pretty standard follow button for all my characters that I run. It's a turn attack off, X target 1, so target whoever the leader of the group is that wants to be followed. Stand, follow, and invite. So the way this there's a trick to this. I've kind of explained. So on my main character here, my paladin, I invite all the characters when I first log on, right? So they all have like the follow thing right here. And then I just hit my IS Boxer follow button. And then what they do is they do all this. They follow me, and then they invite Holdridge, right? Obviously, whoever is they're targeting, right? So they'll invite him, which will mean they joined his group. It's so cool. It works, and I don't have to go around and click on each character to get them to join the group. And then here I got some transportation things. You know, new server. I don't have a Stein, so it's Throne of Heroes, Origin, Campfire. I don't remember what this one is because it's copied from someone else. So from one of my other characters, their UI anyway. So you know, just some basics. All my characters are bound in guild lobby. So just works out. I have nothing on my second. I used to run single, you know, specific target, like X target 1 through 6 heals. I don't do that anymore. I don't need to. There's no need at all in the way I'm doing this. There's so much AoE healing going out that I don't even have to target anybody to heal. And it just works really well. Now, if they're being beat to death by a mob, you know, obviously they're gonna die. In my setup, because I'm not going to stop to heal anybody. The tank should be taking aggro at all times. If not, something happened to the tank and we're probably going to die anyway. All right, so let's get into the multi-bind here. So this is kind of complex-ish. I kind of have it set up a certain way. I'm still optimizing this. So as we get into the 110, the 115, the 120, and the 125 videos, this will change a lot. But this is what I threw together in the last 5 levels that has been 100% successful for me in killing all the names like I did. The named event is going on right now, and I wanted to take advantage of that. So I did the Hunter of Licinium with all level 100 plus my Necro. He's obviously 119 at the moment. But I did all of these hunters with them, with the paladin tanking and whatnot. So I got everybody to 105. I believe the mage and the shaman and the bard are 107 because I was running a Shadow Knight for the first 3 levels. And I decided I didn't like the Shadow Knight as much as a paladin for what I'm doing. So, and some more. So I do symbol first, obviously, that I want to get that going. Then I do spiritual remedy, and then I do intervention, graceful remedy, intervention, retort, earnest remedy, and then if something else, you know, like somehow I get to it, I do the group heal. So let me turn off key maps. There we go. So let's target my tank, and we'll just start hitting 5. You'll kind of watch here. So here we go. Symbol, Yelp, Divine. You notice the AAs that are down here, they get triggered automatically, right? So they just get hit. There we go. Keep going here. Spiritual Remedy, and then Graceful, and then Intervention. Now we go back to Symbol because that was on cooldown. And we kind of go through it. So, you know, depending on lag and how all that works, we will get to these other ones, but sometimes we don't, and I'm okay if we don't. So that is a good thing, right? Celestial regeneration. Why is that not firing? Let me move that one down here. I don't know why that's not firing. I haven't noticed that one yet, but there we go. You can kind of see. There we go. It finally landed. I don't know. Maybe this one doesn't have. Maybe this button's not mapped on 5. But there we go. Like that's kind of how I do it, and whatnot for all this. And so like AA wise, like I kind of specifically didn't talk about these, but we have Beacon of Life. It's a 3-minute reuse, but it heals all group members in the 100-foot range for 20,000. Now, this is, you know, this is nice to have. I use it on cooldown, 3 minutes, doesn't matter. We also have Yelp, which gives us highest cast, highest rank Yelp we have. Now, Yelp in the Paladin has Yelp, and the Cleric gets Yelp. Now, this increases our mana regeneration for 36 seconds. So this is kind of like if we were fighting something like meleeing stuff, we'd get some melee bonus out of it, but just passively, wherever that spell is, we get mana regen. I don't know how much mana regen. I wish I knew. I don't even see it here. It's somewhere on here. Let's see here. Yeah, it's so hard to find spells. I don't see it here. Unless it's not actually called Yelp anymore. But I do that on cooldown. Burst of Life is another one. Instantly heals the target for 28 to 32,000. Again, I want as much healing done on my tank as possible. If there's group stuff that can be done, I'll do that too. But for the most part, I'm focused 100% on keeping the tank alive. And that's typically all I need. Right here, this is Exquisite Benediction. This will summon a stationary ward, which will heal 8,000 every 6 seconds for 300 seconds. So this is just more healing out there, right? Divine Guardian. So places your target under protection of Divine Guardian for 6 minutes. So this is kind of like if you die, you're not going to die kind of thing. It just heals you, keeps you from dying. You can only have it active on one person. I keep it on my tank at all times. 100% of the time, I keep it on him. I do not want him to die. And that's pretty much how this goes. And then Celestial Regeneration, which we just fixed. This is a group heal for 11,000 every 6 seconds for 54 seconds with a 7-minute reuse, right? So, you know, you could save it. Like I don't really care about saving anything, right? Like if I set something aside to save it, I will never use it. That's just how I am. So I try to burn everything I possibly can as fast as I can. Let's see here. We got Blessed Chains, which is a root. I have not cast a spell once yet. Mostly because I'm boxing, right? I'm not going to need it, but I have it up there just in case. Divine Aura. Now, this will turn me invulnerable, and I like to be invulnerable if I'm about to die. So, if there's some kind of situation where I need it, it's there. Then we have Call of the Herald, which will bring somebody back from dead, right? But it does not res them. So they get a little bit of stats back, right? They get some stuff, and I can res them later. So it's kind of nice. I also get Blessing of Resurrection, which is the standard, Cleric res, right? 96% res, and brings everybody back. Why do I not have that one in there? There we go. We'll throw another one in there. There's so many heals that the clerics get. We also have Divine Resurrection, which is probably one of the really most interesting things I've seen. I didn't even realize that a cleric got this. Honestly, this will 100% restore every stat. 100% restore lost experience. Right. So if my tank dies, I can Divine res him back. He comes back with full life, full health, full mana, full endurance, everything. He comes back completely, back to naked, if you will. I can click ageism, right? He's divine resed, he's ageism, he's buffed. He has no res effects, so he's not at any kind of downside, right? So I am going to probably make a macro for being able to just one-shot that, so I can just hit it and it'll target Holdridge and res him and whatnot. So that is going to be a thing. I just haven't figured out how to do the targeting of the corpse. I think I can do like target Holdridge's, / corpse, right? But I don't know. So eventually I'll have a macro for that, so I can bring him back into the fight if he dies, because I am running 2 pet classes. So those 2 pet classes will, in theory, be able to keep everything going, right? Like the pets are just so strong. Then we have the Urkta's Perseverance. So this will give us back 40,000 health and mana. And then we also get Quiet Prayer, which offers a... so it takes 40,000 of our mana and returns 40,000 health and mana to our target. So it's pretty nice. And yeah, so this one will do us, that one will do our target. It's pretty nice. Well, give 40,000 of our mana to somebody else, which is actually kind of cool, right? Because as a cleric, I'm not using mana, right? Like I can chain cast that stuff all day long while with a bard and a mount, and it's just not going to be a problem. Then we have Purified Spirits, just cure us there. I don't have the other ones on here for some reason, like Radiant Cure. I don't know why I didn't put that on there. I did lose like part of my UI once when I camped, so I might have not had all that on there. Divine Avatar, so this is another one. Just increases my damage with melee. I don't think I really plan on doing that too much. The way I play, I typically mount them up and I park them, and the only one I move is the bard. So, and I play from the paladin, right? Then we have 2 auras. I have this little macro here to memorize the aura and cast it, So it's pretty, I don't know, makes it pretty easy to redo the auras, right? So Aura of the, let's see, Aura of the Reverent. This is the first one. Aura of the Reverent is pretty neat. What it does is it absorbs 4% of incoming melee strikes up to a maximum value of 1200. Now, my understanding of this takes, let's just say 1200 damage off every hit, right? Now, it's only 4%, so if you don't get hit for, you know, enough to make it 1200 damage, you know, you're obviously not, right? But it's going to take up to 1200 damage off a hit. Almost like the Worm Slayer effect of the Empires of Kunark Worm Slayer. I don't have one on this character yet, but I'm hoping to get one. And it just, you know, to shaves damage off, right? The tank is always within enough range to have this effect on him at all times. This is a really nice effect to have. Always, you know, less damage. Makes it easier for me. So I use two-hander. I'm doing all this with a two-hander. So I'm so far so good, right? And then the other aura right here is the Aura of Divinity, which increases our max hit points. Right, so more hit points, longer we live? I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know how much that percent extra hit points is, but it is what it is. And then I do have a button to memorize Agialism, just in case I don't have it already memorized, and it just cast it. And then the final one over here, Saint's Unity, which will give us Armor of the Ardent, so just saves us a spell slot from casting this, and Armor of the Ardent increases our hit points, armor class, and mana regen. So we are currently sporting what 791 mana regen without anything going on. I believe we have Clarity. I don't have an enchanter on the server yet, so Clarity is if I get it accidentally. I don't think I have Clarity. There it is right here. Voice of Preordination. So this is a nice Clarity. I think this is the 125 one maybe. But we have Clarity. So it makes it going there. So that is all my hotbars, my spells. Nothing over here. I have like this Undead. That's the only thing over there. I know I'm missing a few other, you know, effects in here, like AAs and stuff, but I haven't needed them, and it hasn't been a thing. Like, I've been successful in everything I've done so far. I die when I get more than 5. I think that's like that's kind of like my limit right now. But let's talk about gear, and we'll go into the rest of the AAs here in a second. Gear, I'm running mostly consigned gear, right? I do have a few pieces of cohorts, which is the Empires of Kunark tier 1 armor. Jeez, I can't even remember what it's called. You can kind of see here, that's a significant upgrade over that, you know, 1700 hit points is a significant number. Like, it is pretty crazy. But you know, I don't know if we'll get a full set of that before we get into Ring of Scale, right? I don't know. Let's see here. Geared, that's about all that. I don't have any clickies on this character, you know, so it doesn't have any of that stuff. Nothing in the bags of note. All right, let's talk about AAs, right? So we are auto-granted AAs until 115 at this point in the game. That might change in the future, but I think it's to the clause, up into the Claws of Ishan. So we get everything from Torment of Elias, but we do not get the Claws of Ishan auto-grant. So where I would focus my AAs if I did not have auto grant would be in the focuses, right? So the Templars synergy is very important to keep up. You know, makes those heals, you know, do more damage, and the better we heal, the better we're doing, right? And what I'm gonna do, if I can drag that in, nope, click there, click, there we go. So here is from when I was fighting just a little while ago in Lysinium, and you can kind of see here. So if we look at DPS, like, you know, it's standard DPS, but Ketka right here, like the Cleric, she did 13,000 DPS. Now, if I was running a mercenary, that would be 0. So let's, you know, I'm adding 13,000 DPS to the group that would not normally be there. Now, if you take a look at my healing, I am over healing significantly. Like, and that's the point, right? I do not want any chance of death. And that's why you run a Cleric, right? You do not want anyone to die. So if we take a look at this, right? I mean, hell, my Necromancer's on here healing for. Look at that. That's pretty good. And Necromancer's group healing, but we'll talk about his spells in his 120 video. But you can see here, you know, I'm over healing significantly, but there's never an opportunity where I feel like I'm going to die. And that is kind of where I'm going. Now, the Paladin heals himself. You know, he's over healing himself quite a bit. And then the Shaman here, she's over healing, but she doesn't heal as much. Now, that's kind of like how this goes in like all these fights. We'll use the names because they're the longer fights. Like this is 54 seconds. This is 18 seconds. Like that's how fast I'm killing this stuff right now. Right here, but you see Ketka again overhealing quite a bit on this named and whatnot. So you can see here the Necromancer's also healing. So I'm healing with the Necromancer, the Shaman, the Cleric, and I'm healing with the Paladin. So there's a lot of healing going on at this point. And this is just safe gameplay, right? Like this is I'm not feeling death at all. Like there's the only time I've died is when I've pulled more than 4 and I was not able to, I was out of a defensive or something like that and I couldn't heal through it. So here's another one, again, she overheals, but the fight on the name was 73 seconds. Like if we look at this, the fight on the Plague Bone was 15 seconds. So in these shorter fights right here, she's still overhealing, but her heals are doing so much damage, right? She's critting for, 17,000 average crit, average heal, 13,000. She's got, 7,400 heals per second, the Paladin has higher heals per second, but it's the way his rotation is. But I out heal the Shaman for sure, but it is. But these are such short fights that it really doesn't matter. Like in this fight, she didn't even heal. That's how short it was. And that's, because I'm fighting undead. I'm using a Paladin and I'm using a Necromancer to turn everything undead. So there's a synergy there that I'm using to make these things go really quick. Here is just another one, a 29-second fight. I think this is like a multi-pull. I had 2 mobs in camp. So you can kind of see here a little bit more healing going on, whatnot. And you'll see the pets do taunt and they do take damage. So they are taking some of those heals, the splash heals, if you will. So like my Shamans, doing the Reckless lineup plus Spiritual Swell and the Shaman group heal. So on my Cleric here, I'm doing mostly single target heals on the tank, but then Syllable and Greater Reformation kind of do everything else. And if he is like, say he's not actually tanking, so like if he is, how do I explain it here? Like if the pet taunts, some of these heals will heal the targeted target on some of these characters, and especially the Paladin stuff heals the targeted target. Their heals will go off onto the other things, right? I do plan on getting healing weapons for the Bard, which do the remote healing. So when the bard is like whack, 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 every proc will go heal the target of target. So whatever is getting beat on, whatever is the target of the enemy will get healed. So there's a lot of little synergies going on there, plus all these other buffs and stuff, right? Let's see here. I think that's like everything. I don't want to go through like every single AA because like a lot of them are passive, right? Like, I mean, I'm not taking advantage of a lot of this stuff. But if you're playing a, you know, a main cleric, you're gonna want to probably focus on, you know, whatever healing. You're probably gonna want to do some like different kinds of heals. Like if we look at the heals, right? Like look at all these heals. There's so many different ones. Like here's a renewal spell I think I just got. This one is pretty nice, you know, channels holy power to heal your target up to 17,000, but look at that recast time on this thing. Like it's still ticking down. Like it's a 3-second cast. There's a reason why I'm not using any of these, because they're just gonna slow me down. Now I could, you know, at 106 I'm getting another buff slot. Maybe this is the spell I put in that buff slot, right? And I put it right here after Sybil, you know, that way my tank is always getting cured, because we're going to begin Torrent of Villa soon with these characters, and they are going to need to be cured of Restless Ice, right? This would put curing Restless Ice pretty much on who cares, because it's going to get, every time that's on cooldown, it's going to get cured. So there's some different things you can do in different situations, and I'm mostly doing whatever makes it the safest for my group right now. And you know, over time that is going to be where it goes, right? But buff wise, you know, Cleric, you know, Agilism is going to be the spell we're going to be casting. This is going to be how we're going to be buffing our group most of the time. There's very few people that would, you know, don't want Agilism, like Necromancer, Shadow Knight. They're going to want the Druid skin. I'm not running a Druid, so I'm doing that. So in the case of, you know, people wanting Druid skin, you're going to want to cast Symbol, which is just the HP component of that. And we do have a group version. Where is it? Symbol right here. Hand of Nonia right here. So you're going to cast that if people want that. And it's going to cast some other ward, which is the AC buff, and Symbol plus Benediction of Piety, which is Spell Haste, I believe. Yeah, Benediction of Devotion. Yeah, Spell Haste. So it just depends. The Cleric itself is going to always want Agilism, because Symbol does not stack with our not Symbol. The Druid skin doesn't stack with our Armor of the Ardent here. And the same goes for the Paladin. The Paladin has the same kind of stacking issue. You're going to also want Clarity, and then anything else you get, like looks like we got Heroic Focusing, so focus stacks with all our stuff. And obviously you're going to want a mount. And it looks like right now we have the Druid skin, because we got cast on by a level 120. So if I do this, let's give me my Symbol. If I don't already have it, yeah, I have, yeah. So I already have it. It's, you know, it is what it is. It's getting these higher level buffs give more mana regen, so they're gonna get overridden. So you can see here they're blocked by all the junk that I got cast on while I was in guild lobby. All right, I think this has gone on long enough, but for the most part, how I play this character is I just hit 4 and I hit 5, and I just hit those over and over again. I use IS Boxer for my multi-boxing in Everquest, which allows, you know, pretty much if I turn key maps on, everybody does the same kind of thing, right? They all use the same keys when I push them. There's no automation here. It's all figuring out how to get one key to do as much as it possibly can, and using the Everquest client to multibind. There should be a multibind guide video out by the time this one's out, how to set it up and whatnot. So specifically how this is, literally this is all it is you find a hotbar you want to put all the stuff on, and you sign all all the keys to the same thing and whatnot. But there we go. I think that's everything I want to cover at this point. But there we go. That is a 105 Cleric. I will do another one at 110, and then 115, 120, and 125 as we get to 125. So it will be interesting to say the least. But thank you very much for watching, and have a fantastic day.